Hello, Viva. How are you?
Hello, Kush morning, Louise. I am very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining this webinar series. It's amazing. You're in India. Where are you? Are you in Delhi today?
No, I'm not in Delhi. I am in South India, in Hyderabad.
Oh, in Hyderabad. So how are things there? How is COVID treating you?
I am treating COVID well. I would like to respond in that way because COVID is creating lots of havoc in the societies, in families. But so far, I am treating it well.
I love the answer. So well, welcome everybody to this conversation. It's kind of a fireplace in many ways. Viva and I we have been sharing for a lot for the last months, and as I get to know you, Viva, you're really special, really important and relevant. Everything that you know and what you are doing. So welcome everybody. It's gonna be really nice conversation about joy, about gratitude, about consciousness. And as you know, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, the Academy, and then the video will be recorded for everybody to view later on. So, but let's start with Viva. I mean, your profile is impressive. The last thing I saw and you share with us is that between March and now, you've been running so many different workshops or joy shops and impacting so many people around India. So you have to tell us about that. But you work with United Nations, you've been running so many international projects, running your own not-for-profit. So where do you get all this energy from? Tell us a bit, who are you? Not from what you do, but who you are, Viva.
Thank you, Louise, for this opportunity. And I'm really grateful to the World Happiness Foundation and World Happiness Academy for this webinar. So to answer your question, Louise, whatever I have been doing as part of my projects, as part of my nonprofit, I am offering my inner to the outer world. That is what I do because I want to maintain alignment in what I do so that I can be in a space of peace and happiness. So that is what I have been doing mostly. So I moved out of my full-time job about 10 years back. And ever since that, I am like working through my nonprofit NGO and through my own group through which I do workshops and sessions globally, primarily for organization, health, harmony, and happiness, and for individuals, health, harmony, and happiness.
So today we are going to be talking not just from wisdom, theoretical wisdom, but actually from a practitioner perspective, right? So somebody who is in a daily basis sharing and making other people feel really good. That's how I feel every time we met. So why don't you tell us a bit more about the topic of today's conversation? We call it consciousness, we call it joy, we call it gratitude. These are really powerful words. Why don't we go deeper into gratitude? What does it mean, gratitude, to you?
So before I answer your specific question, Luis, I would like to share a little bit of background that how I started on this path. So my journey with gratitude started about 8 years back when I was implementing a project in the domain of social and emotional well-being. And as part of that project, I used to conduct workshops with young adults on self-awareness, self-management, self-leadership, and social awareness and social management. Within this framework, I used to cover themes of compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, empathy, interdependence. So when I started implementing this project, it so happens that every time I work in the domain of social emotional learning, which I also call emotional literacy. So every time I do work in the field of emotional literacy, whatever practices I take to others through my workshops, I first try those practices on my own self, because I strongly believe that in addition to getting cognitive understanding of any content or any subject, it's very important for me to get embodied understanding of the content. So by embodied understanding, I mean when I apply that on myself, what I'm experiencing in terms of emotions, in terms of confidence and courage and other such things. So as part of this project, when we came to the theme of gratitude and started doing those activities, designing those activities for this theme, I decided to apply some of those practices in my own life. And I began with 3 simple practices, and I continued those practices for about a week. And within a week's time, Luis, I started noticing some shifts in me. And I'm saying so because that was the time I was also going through a challenging situation. So when I started noticing those shifts, I wondered, what is it that is at work? Because everything else in my external space is the same. My outer world is the same. But why I'm feeling a little different in terms of my overall well-being, my level of vibrancy, and all that. So that was a time I realized that this is something which is very, very simple, yet amazingly powerful. And why not take it to many more people so that many more people can benefit from this? So at that stage, I carved out a separate workshop from that overall project that I was implementing. And because you know what happens when you talk of workshops and sessions, these days people have deficit of time. They have everything, but they don't have time. So I thought that let me create something which is short and simple, which I can take to people in different settings, different geographic locations, different profiles, in a very quick manner. At the same time, they feel something within their heart. It leaves a deeper impact on their being. So then I named it Joy of Gratitude Joy Shop, because not only I myself, every time people attend this joy shop, there is lots of joy that they experience while sitting in that circle, as well as once they leave and they start practicing, and then some of them come back and share with me how they have experienced, what shift they noticed. So it's all can be categorized under a broad heading of joy. So I started calling it Joy Shop. And moreover, I get immense joy every time I offer this Joy Shop. So I'm being very selfish in carrying forward this work.
That's amazing. You mentioned embodiment, and in this case, I already feel that as the instructor of the facilitator, you are already feeling joy, and you are embodying it. I'm sure that just in a few minutes, people around you are going to start feeling it too. So uh, now that we are dealing with online, how you feel any difference when you run these workshops, and if it's an online environment, actually the embodiment is something that we can feel through the screens.
Yes. So initially, I faced some challenges. Actually, more than I, the participants felt little difficulties because not everybody is familiar with the technology, and people suddenly feel very frustrated when they can't access it or they can't navigate through a technology. But then eventually, it has become very smooth. And you know what happens? The kind of energy that is created. And if I talk in terms of energy, whether you are in a physical space or whether you are in a virtual space, this is the energy of intention that gets across. This is the energy of conviction that gets across. And people feel that energy. And the moment they feel that energy, they feel hooked. They can connect with that. They can feel some kind of alignment with that. So, I mean, I have not faced any challenges now, even in virtual settings. Yeah, I
So
mean,
how
I've
do,
offered more than, I think, 80 circles online in last 4 months, including gratitude joy shops to some people in Pakistan, in Austria, in the US, and those have been received very well.
oh, okay, I asked because, well, we are going to be launching this joy shop through the academy, so we welcome everybody to join. We are going to be launching in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be online, and in this case it will be people from all over the world. That's why I was asking because now it's, I mean, at some point that's what we can do. But I feel that you are able to move that energy across the screen, regardless of having a physical a contact. So I feel it already. Can we go deeper into gratitude, Viva? Um, how do you why do you think gratitude is so important? And when we talk about gratitude, what do we mean first? And second is how do we actually embody gratitude?
So let me take your first question first. What do we mean by gratitude? Uh, See, my understanding and also experience having worked and interacted with people for the past maybe 25 years through my through my work, in workshops and other such settings, we are in the business of busyness, and we put a lot of premium on busyness to the extent that we glamorize it. If somebody is not doing anything, we will not pay any importance to that person, because you have to be busy, you have to be keep doing something or the other to make a place in this world. And because we are in the business of busyness, we tend to ignore, we tend to forget all that one is given. There is so much of beauty, there are so many gifts, there is so much that one is given through relationships, through nature, through other people, but we just tend to ignore that. And sometimes we take that for granted because we are not pausing. So when I talk of gratitude, I mean cultivating a practice where you pause, pay attention, and by paying attention, notice, and then feel gratitude. Because the moment you pause and you notice, automatically there will be some feeling, some kind of warm heartedness that will surface within you. You will have some pleasant sensations in your body, and then you can express your gratitude. Expression is the last thing. Whether you express it directly or you just keep it within yourself, doesn't matter. It will have the same impact on your physiology and in your body. So with this realization, I thought it is very important to take this work to many more people, because it's a very simple thing, and it helps cultivating pause and noticing all the blessings, all the beautiful things that one is given, and acknowledging the source from where those things come from.
And we know that gratitude has an impact on well-being. Can we talk a bit more about that? What have you seen when we apply gratitude and we use gratitude in a daily basis?
So as I was sharing my story right in the beginning, when I started consciously practicing gratitude, I noticed some shifts within my being, and the same kind of shift many people who attend my joy shops come back and share with me. Not immediately, maybe at some later point. So in my work in the domain of gratitude, I have been referring to the research that has been done by Professor Bob Emmons from UC Davis, because there is, in the last 2 decades, there is lots of research that has happened for things like gratitude, forgiveness, and compassion, especially from the neuroscience aspect of it. So when I started noticing those things, and I researched and I started studying that what is it that is doing this magic, so I found immense benefits of gratitude in terms of well-being. And when I say well-being, I mean overall well-being in terms of physical health, emotional health, and social health also. So there is documented evidence that people who are grateful, or people who practice gratitude consciously, they have stronger immune systems, they are less bothered by aches and pains, they have better quality of sleep, they have regulated blood pressure. These are physical benefits. Now coming to emotional health benefits, so people have more positive emotions, they are more alert, more alive, more awake, they feel joy, optimism, pleasure, and they are happy. And coming to benefits in the area of social health, people who practice conscious gratitude, they are helpful, they are compassionate, they are generous, they are forgiving, and they feel less isolated, they feel less lonely. So these benefits put together, this is amazing. And I also was studying something in this domain, so I got to know that if you start cultivating an attitude of gratitude from an early age, like catch them young. So there are studies which tell us that children, when they start practicing gratitude, they start sharing. So there is, in place of greed, there is sharing. In place of violence, there is peace. In place of oppression, there is more connectedness. So these are such important values. So if one is going to teach them as values, nobody is going to listen. But if people start experiencing it within themselves, then they will have this conviction that yes, this is doing good to me and this can do good to others. Just tell me one thing, don't we all want a world like this, where there is peace, there is sharing, and people live joyfully? Everybody aspires for that. uh, so if such a simple thing, if this is integrated in day-to-day life, then it can really do wonders. And it is a win-win for everyone. I mean, the person who is expressing gratitude or feeling grateful, and the person who is receiving it. I mean, I tell this to people that like some of the modern medicines which have some side effects, gratitude doesn't have any side effect. If you take a pill of gratitude, you will not have any side effect. It is win-win for everyone.
Yeah, actually, the side effect will be positive as well, right? So listening to you is like, okay, thank you. This is all about gratitude, right? We have to use it. Is there a positive bias somewhere here or not? And then building on that question, on the positive bias question, is why is it so hard for some people to be grateful?
Mhm. Well, your first question is one of my favorites. And in fact, in my joy shops and in my other sessions on gratitude, I put a disclaimer, and I tell people that the way I am sharing about gratitude, or the way I am teaching gratitude, or my take on gratitude, is not about remaining in denial if something is not happening well. So suppose if there is something negative that has happened in your life, or today for that matter, in your life, so I'm not suggesting that you ignore that. It is not about brushing it under the carpet. Please attend to that, because that's a reality of life. One has to face it. Because some people use this as there's a positive bias, and some people use this just to remain in denial. According to me, that is emotional bypassing and spiritual bypassing. And I do not subscribe to that at all. If there's something not happened well, something has gone wrong, please acknowledge, attend to it, do something about it. The idea of conscious gratitude is that you focus on what is happening well instead of focusing on what has not happened well. So, suppose in my last 24 hours, I have a flat tire in my car. And
Mhm.
if all the time I am talking about that only, so I am focusing on something that did not happen well. Yes, I will take out time and I will get it repaired, or whatever I am required to do, I will do that. I will attend to that negative or that challenge that I faced. But I will not talk about that all the time. I will not keep my mind full of that only. I will focus on what other five things that happened well: a beautiful sunrise, a delicious meal that I got to eat, a lovely tree that I got to see, or a lovely conversation that I had with somebody. So there are so many things that happened to us and around us, but we tend to ignore those things because we are so busy that our mind is completely closed. We are not paying any attention.
Mm. Is that probably one of the reasons why is it's very difficult for some people to be grateful?
That is one of the main reasons. Again, the business of being busy, then forgetfulness. I also think ego also comes into play, because many times people have this, and when I say ego, I mean unhealthy ego, where people think that I alone am, I am the only one, I am the only doer, and they do not give, and they do not acknowledge efforts of other people. So people who have that kind of mindset, for them it is very difficult to uh, acknowledge others or feel gratitude. More so in modern times, the way society has shifted, that people function in silos. They do not realize the power and beauty of interdependence. They think that, oh, I can manage everything, I can do it. Yes, it is nice to be independent, but at the same time, there are so many factors at play. Like, for example, if right now we are doing this webinar together, I know there is so much of support that has gone into it. from your team, from your side, in terms of technology, designing the flyers and all that. So all those things made it possible for you and I to sit together and do this session today. So it is about that. So those are some of the key barriers that people have.
Hmm. And is this why you call it conscious gratitude?
Yes,
What is
absolutely.
what is the role of consciousness in this case? When we talk about conscious, is this
Yes,
about being mindful, aware, or we go beyond into
yes.
transcendence?
So because if we keep operating in autopilot mode, we will not be able to enjoy the beauty, the gifts that we receive from life. It's important to be conscious. I draw a clear distinction between a simple act of saying thank you and feeling gratitude. Thank you is something very, very superficial, whereas gratitude is something from within. So the moment you feel gratitude, you have to be conscious of everything. It is not that you can do it superficially. And the moment you become conscious, so it is about awareness, and then it is about noticing and acknowledging what all is there in any given situation. So that is why it is conscious gratitude. And one has to make an effort, because the good news about gratitude is that it is not something that is innate. Yes, some people are quite grateful because the way they are brought up, they see that in their family culture, like it has been in case in my family also. But it is not that it is something that you are born with. You can cultivate an attitude of gratitude, and for that you have to make an effort. Also because the way our education system has been in the last 30-40 years, uh, we put a lot of focus on competition. We are not focusing on collaboration. And also children are brought up by telling them all the time that you lack this, you don't have this, you get fast on this, otherwise you will be left behind in this world, and those kinds of things. So they are brought up with this constant messaging of this is missing, you are lacking this thing. So they develop this perception of looking at what is not happening there or what is missing, instead of what is there, what they are given. So because of this, they need to train their mind, and this training requires consciousness.
Hmm.
You have to be mindful, you have to be conscious. And then the joy that comes, because the moment you become conscious, it is even a simple glass of water given by somebody can become such a delicious drink. And I have experienced that some people, when they come to me, just the exchange of a glass of water gives them so much that they can feel it.
So, can we be practical? Are we practical? How do we become conscious? How do we do this? What are the steps? Because we need more conscious people in the world.
Yes.
So, is there a hack? Is there a shortcut to be a bit more conscious?
Uh, I won't say there's a shortcut, because you require practice. You need to develop this you need to mainstream this in your life so that you don't have to think. Once you have mastered this art, you don't have to think twice. But yes, like what I will be sharing in my upcoming session, Conscious Gratitude Journey. So I have identified 8 domains of life, which almost everybody has. And
Mhm.
I take people through some simple activities, and those are fun activities also, to make them experience gratitude, so that in that session, in that workshop situation, they experience it, they feel the emotion, how they are feeling within their body, and then they have conviction to apply it. So some people require support, because it is not that if you attend just one workshop you will gain mastery over it. You require some support, hand holding support. So that I will be offering through that Conscious Gratitude Journey workshop course that I will take people through. But yes, it can be cultivated. There is no rocket science in this. It can be easily cultivated. It's not
Yeah,
difficult.
but I always wonder if it's easily cultivated. If we can all do this, why we have so many of us around the world so unconscious? Is what is your experience? And by the way, you've been traveling all over the world, and now you're in India. So you might have seen some differences as well in different parts of the world. So I wonder why is it still so difficult for so many people.
So one aspect which makes it difficult, or people actually not difficult, people don't realize the benefit
Okay.
that this has. Even many people who are uh, quite, they have pro-social behaviors and have been part of my other work, I will say they have not been grateful, but they have other many wonderful qualities. But once they go through my gratitude jaw shop, also they realize the benefits, which is the scientific perspective, the neuroscience perspective, and the theory of neuroplasticity. I mean, a simple fact that if you are a grateful person and if you practice gratitude consciously, uh, neurotransmitter like dopamine and serotonin are released, which are happy neurotransmitters, which contribute to our overall well-being. So people are not aware of these things. And also the other thing is that, for if something can be mainstream in life, day-to-day life, then it is easy for people to practice because the kind of schedules or busyness people have. So that is why I have designed my session in such a way that it is, you don't have to pull a yoga mat and come and sit and practice this. You can practice it as you move along. And that is the what I hear from people also, in different countries when I offered this work. Their initial barriers were like this only, that I will have another thing to do in my to-do list and it will add to my stress and all that. But after attending the session, they were very happy. They said, oh, what you have taught us, I can do it while walking, while working in my kitchen, or while drinking a glass of water. It is just that you have to bring more pauses. So if you pause and drink a glass of water, you will have a different taste, because you will be full of gratitude, which is a higher vibration energy, higher frequency energy. So you will get benefit of all that. So to summarize it in terms of barriers and why not many people practice it, it is because they're not aware. That is why with sessions like this, we can spread awareness about its benefit and about its simplicity, uh, so that more and more people feel comfortable adopting this in their lifestyle.
So we have to do that. So I'm sure that you have many anecdotes. You've been in so many different places with so many different people. Can you share some of those? How do people react when they have to go through this type of exercise and they feel good?
Wow, there are many. There are many stories, many stories. So I'll share a couple. Once I was doing this gratitude joy shop with a group of youth leaders. They were part of a fellowship program, and there was a bunch of about 25 of them. So they were attending my session. And in that session, one of the activities was in the domain of family. So I gave them the instruction that think of somebody in your family to whom you have taken for granted and you would like to express your gratitude in whichever way you want. See, it is not about how you express, it is about the feeling that you are ready to express or feel gratitude. So that was the overall activity. So first they reflected, they made some notes. Then after that, the instruction was that you can leave this room and go out and make a phone call or send a text message to this person. So they went out and came back in the circle after 10 minutes. So when they came back, I started inviting some reflections and sharing, those who are comfortable sharing what they did and how they felt doing it. So a young man in his early 20s, he raised his hand. He said, I want to share about my experience. And he was quite shaken emotionally. So I invited him to share. So he said that I made a call to my father, who is in a different city. And when I made this call to my father, I started appreciating him for what all he has done, the way he has supported me, and the way he has stood by me in some difficult situations. So I started saying all of that. So my father listened to me for about 2-3 minutes. And after that, he said, Ki, okay, I understand. I listen what you are saying, but tell me how much money you want me to transfer in your bank account. So this boy was quite shaken. He said, now I'm realizing that this is the level where I have brought this relationship. So
Yes.
that was quite interesting. Another one, I was working with a group of accounts people and finance people and doing this session. In fact, instead of narrating that, if you are okay, I will share the instruction with you and
Okay.
you can do that.
Okay, I'm ready.
Good. Are you sure?
Okay, yeah, yes, I'm sorry.
Good, good. Okay, so my instruction to you is that please hold your nose with one of your hands, press it, and don't breathe for as much time as you can control your breathing. So don't breathe and press your nose. And when you feel like releasing, just leave it. And I want to observe your expression after that.
Okay.
What is this sound? Why that sound?
Well, because I, you feel relief, right? Finally, you can breathe.
Oh,
You can
wonderful.
suffocate, right?
So I think you held your nose for about 17, 18 seconds, Luis. And
Okay.
when I asked you, you said, I felt relieved. You
Yes.
felt relieved because you could breathe again. Now, here is something which is so simple, which is there with us 24/7, and we take it completely for granted. How many times we pay attention and thank our breath and our lungs that they have capacity to hold this breath. So coming back to my anecdote, I was doing this workshop for finance people, and there was a group of about 40 of them. So when I was inviting them for some sharing, one of them raised his hand and he was quite frustrated. He said, whatever you are making us do in different domains of our life, I have nothing to be grateful for. So I'm not able to do any writing, I'm not able to do any activity, and I'm feeling quite restless because I have nothing. And I'm feeling quite, I'm pitying myself kind of attitude that I have nothing to be grateful for. So I requested him that if you allow me, I will come close to you and I will hold your nose like this for a few seconds. And that is what I did to him, what I made you do right now. And after
Mhm.
about, I think 15, 16 seconds, suddenly he shook his body and he just with force, the way he behaved, I had to take my hand off. And then I asked him what happened. And he said, I can breathe. Like, look, don't you have this to be grateful for? Yes, I agree, you have nothing else to be grateful for in life. But can you make it a practice being grateful for your breath, for your lungs? Because you know what happens, Lois, the moment you pick up some simple things, I'm not even talking of people, being grateful to people right from the early stage. Take things which are from nature and which are given to us through our physical body and start working on those in terms of feeling grateful, paying attention and expressing gratitude. Then you can develop a muscle very quickly. Because remember, I talked about that over the years, we have got into this habit of looking at what is not happening well and what is missing. So once you shift your focus, going by the theory of neuroplasticity, you can rewire your brain by focusing on what is happening well. And these are simple things which all of us have all the time. You don't have to go out to a five-star restaurant or to be in an Audi car to have this feeling. You can have it sitting in your office or home or wherever you are. So
That's
these are
fantastic.
some activities that I take people through to make them experience it firsthand.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, you've been in so many different places. Can you tell us a bit more about your road trips? Because you are going all over places, making people be conscious about gratitude and joy. How do you do that? Where have you been, and when, and where is your next trip?
Okay, so this entire thing about road trip started with the idea, again anchored in my joy shop, gratitude joy shop. The idea was to take it to as many people as possible. And I offered my gratitude joy shop in the currency of trust, which is just my trust and faith in people that they will offer whatever their heart tells them to. And I will accept that with grace because my mission is to spread the joy of gratitude more than anything else. So, and I am fond of traveling by road, driving my little car, going around the countryside. So it so happened that I thought that because I go on road trips, why not integrate some meaningful work with those road trips and do this experiment of currency of trust also. So I make my plan, say about 2 weeks of road travel, and I will inform some people, and then they will inform their friends that Vibha is passing through this route, and she'll be coming to your city or your area. So would you like to host her joy shop? And the beauty of joy shop is that it's very short in duration, maximum 2 to 2.5 hours for a small group of 20 people. So they very happily host the joy shop. So I have hosted it for office teams. Families have hosted my joy shop. Teachers have hosted my joy shops. Medical doctors have hosted my joy shops. So across age group, across socioeconomic profile, across background and work profile of people, the joy shop has been hosted. So I will, suppose I'm traveling and I will be in a city, so I will offer my joy shop, and then I will stay put in that city, and next day I will move to another location. And as I move, offering my joy shop, I have also integrated some random acts of kindness uh, alongside, in terms of sharing my meal with people, or giving a ride to an elderly woman who is not finding a transport in her nearby area. So those kinds of acts. And I have also included planting saplings, because I'm very conscious that the vehicle that I use, it is not an e-vehicle, and I am leaving a carbon footprint. So I offset my carbon footprint by planting saplings in association with the organization or school where I'm offering the joy shop. So through this method, I'm able to cover like three things. In addition to the adventure part of this traveling across the length and breadth of my country, I'm also able to do some meaningful work and spread the joy of gratitude. In fact, I was planning to start my Pan India trip in September, but because of COVID, things are not very friendly, and I don't want to take a risk. So I've postponed it, but that will happen very soon. So 4 months all over the country.
That's amazing. That's amazing what you're doing, Viva. And we are so thankful and grateful that we are going to experience this joy shop with this group of international audience that we have, and the World Happiness Fest and the foundation community. So we are super helpful, super grateful about that. What can we expect when somebody joins the Joy Shop in the coming weeks? What can they expect?
So first of all, they will learn very simple and easy to do 9 practices that they can very quickly mainstream in their daily routine to develop practice of gratitude and to practice gratitude consciously. They will also learn about the neuroscience and the scientific aspect and all the benefits, the evidence which is there. Because, it is important to know the logic, the rationale also. So they will get some information on that. And they will also understand how gratitude helps in raising vibrations or your frequency. So if I talk in terms of human chakra system, and when I look at the color of the third eye chakra and the crown chakra, so third eye and crown chakra, so these colors are violet and indigo colors. And the energy of the vibration of gratitude falls in the same range, in the same color. So if somebody is practicing gratitude consciously, they are also able to raise their vibrations. So I'll share some of those things with people, and how they can be gratitude champion in their own areas, because so far I have gratitude champions in 6 countries. So people have hosted my joy shops in the US, Afghanistan, Myanmar, Nepal, Russia, Switzerland. So I can take it to many more people, because it's very simple to organize. It doesn't require lots of logistics arrangements, because that is the only way I can reach many more people. Otherwise, there will be some other kinds of barriers for people to access this. And it's a fun experience. There are lots of emotion that surface during this joy shop, and people feel connected. People feel a warm-heartedness.
Well, if I can keep one thing of this conversation, beautiful conversation, I would say experience the joy of gratitude. I love it when you say that. Experience the joy of gratitude. So I invite everybody to experience the joy of gratitude with Viva. This is going to be a fantastic workshop, and it's going to last for a number of days after that, right? So you are planning to do some 21 days of activities after the Joy Shop.
Yeah, in fact, after that, I would also like to offer some specific workshops to educators and teachers, because education system and school is one space where you can enter these things in a systemic manner, and you don't have to do a separate activity with kids. The teachers are so skillful that they can, once they are convinced and once they have tasted some of those simple activities, they can integrate that in their routine classroom, like while children are having their eating their meals, or when children are doing some artwork, or when children are in a music class, the teacher can very smartly integrate these activities. And that is the beauty of some of these activities. So I would love to offer some session exclusively to teachers, so that it goes and it can be mainstream in the education system.
Yeah, this is so important. As we know, over the next 30 years, we are going to need more than 75 million teachers to actually accommodate and making an impact just on primary and secondary school systems. Um, that's a lot of, I mean, the number of teachers is going to be huge, and there is a shortage. But no, it's not just that we don't have enough, is that we are going to need really conscious teachers. So I think these type of workshops are going to be fundamental, and bringing all the psycho-emotional skills to another level is going to be super important. So thank you so much for this that you are doing.
And especially in the context of education system, it has benefits for teachers for their overall well-being, because they are also so stressed and so pressurized with many things, so they also need to look after themselves. And here is a simple tool that they can include in their daily routine, and then they can take it to their student. So it has double benefit if one starts taking it to the education system.
Yeah, and then the kids bring it home, and
Yes.
then you can do this with the families. I mean, this is the beauty of the education ecosystem in
Yes.
many ways. So thank you so much, Viva. It was fantastic. I'm super looking forward to this experience, and I invite everybody to join. We'll share the links over the coming days. But first, especially thank you for all what you do. Having you making such an impact in India and everywhere in the world now online is so fantastic. So thank you so much from my third eye and the and the chakra. I feel the violet now, and the aura is sending you a lot of energy. So thank you so much, Viva, for this.
Thank you so much, Luis, for hosting this webinar. I really enjoyed sharing my experiences and my aspirations with regard to gratitude. And I hope that from now on, you will be grateful for your breath, because I made you live that experience. And I hope my audience will also do that and be more conscious of their breath. That is the first step towards mindful breathing and mindfulness, and then overall well-being. So I
Don't
wish you
forget.
joy, and really enjoyed this meaningful conversation with you. And
Thank you
look
so
forward
much.
to people joining the session on 20th of October.
So we start the 20th of October. Welcome everybody to this amazing joy shop. Experience the joy of gratitude with unconsciously with Viva. So thank you so much, Viva. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.